Do you want to start a clothing brand, but you don't know where to start from? Well, I'm going to show you guys how to do it from my experience. That way you can learn from my mistakes so you could be successful. Now, starting a clothing brand is a lot harder than it seems. It takes a lot of work and effort to put into your brand so you can be successful. Now, the advice I'm about to give you, I wish I knew before, but we all learn from mistakes. So I'm going to tell you guys step by step how to launch your brand and my mistakes so you can avoid them so you can be successful. So let's get started. So the first thing you got to find out is your niche. What is your brand going to be all about? For example, are you going to be targeting, like, if you're going to launch a skateboarding t-shirt brand, well, obviously your niche is going to be all about skateboarding. But the important thing is that you have to at least belong to that niche or be part of it. There's no point of starting a brand if you have no relationship with that niche. For example, I wouldn't start a clothing brand targeted to surfers. Why? Because I have never surfed in my life. I grew up in Phoenix. There's no ocean there. So there's no point of me doing that. So you got to make sure you belong to the niche. Now for me, the niche that I selected was graffiti. And the reason was because when I was a teenager back in the days and during high school, I got into the whole scene of graffiti, tagging out in the streets. So that was my niche because I was a part of it. So it's easier for me to be associated with that certain group. And this is what I mean when it's important to be part of that niche. For example, let's go back with the example with skateboarding. If you're someone who skated, who skates, you launch your brand, you could easily target your friends to sell them your shirts. If you hang out by the skate shop all the time, you could talk to the owner, tell them, hey, I started this clothing brand. And since they know you and they know you skate, they're more willing to accept you and sell your merchandise. So it is very important to be part of that niche. Now, the second step is to find a name for your brand. Now, it's a very good idea to grab like a notebook and just start writing down names and names and names and names. And once you figure out your name, don't hesitate to look for more, because trust me, even though you think you have your perfect name, later on you're probably more likely to find a better name for it. And once you find your name, do some research online. Google it. Make sure there's not another brand out there with the same name. Look up a domain to make sure the domain for your brand is available. Look up social media. Make sure there's no Instagram or Facebook pages with that exact name. Now, when I was coming up with the name for my brand, the first name that I came up with was Illegal Art. And for me, at that moment, I thought it was perfect. Graffiti, illegal, art. But then I started looking online. The first thing I did was I looked up the domain. But illegalart.com was already taken. But I still kept looking. And I went to Instagram. Searched illegal art. I found this boutique somewhere in Europe. It was called Illegal Art Boutique. And even though it wasn't really that related to mine, I was still hesitating for a while. Should I still go with illegal art? Should I change it? But the thing that made me really decide to finally change it was the domain, because I really wanted a domain with my name of the brand. So I kept thinking, what can I do? And this was after I already made mock-ups for illegal art. I came up with designs, illegal art, everything. But I decided to change it. I didn't want to have a different domain, illegal art clothing or illegal art MX, something like that. So I decided to change it. And luckily, I'm very happy that domain was taken. There was a boutique in somewhere in Europe, because the next name I found out was even better. I decided to change to Illegal Artist. And that moment I was like, perfect. Because my brand was going to be about artists. So I changed to Illegal Artist. I started changing my mock-ups, my designs. I looked up online, the domain available I was searching Instagram, Facebook, available. I did a Google search. There's no brand called Legal Artist. I will only find like hashtags, but nothing with that brand name. So I decided to take that. So remember, when you find your name, even though you think it's perfect, don't hesitate to look for the names. Now the third step is to come up with your logo. That is the most important part of your brand besides your name. Now, don't try to go all fancy and do 3D, all kinds of colors. Sometimes simple is better. Just think of Nike. It's just a little swoosh thing, but everyone recognizes that brand. Same thing with Apple. It's just a simple Apple logo, but everyone already knows when they see that logo, they already know what brand it's all about. And it's just basically just a simple one color. So there's no point of you trying to be all fancy, with 3D, all these colors fancy. Try to avoid that. Just remember, simple is better. Now when you come with your logo, don't just try to think about it as going on a t-shirt. Think about it going on a billboard, on your website. Try to think of a color scheme for your website as well. I highly recommend you do a lot of sketches when designing your logo, because they will come in handy. Even though you do it on a sketch, on a piece of paper, it might not look that good, but once you throw in Illustrator, it's going to come out perfect. For example, on my logo for the Legal Artist, I was doing a lot of sketches. I did some with just an A, with an I, I was trying to do the first letter of each word, and the I came out perfect because all I did was, it looks like a person tagging in that moment. Now the fourth step is to come up with designs for your shirts. Now it's best to come up with at least minimum two designs for your t-shirt brand. And I mean this one mistake I did. I rushed into it. So don't try to rush your designs. Take your time with them. Do a few mock-ups. Don't show them to your friends and family, but go beyond that, because your family and friends, they're going to be nice to you. They're going to want to tell you like, that sucks or something like that, because they don't want to hurt your feelings. So try to post a mock-up on Instagram or something and just tell people, hey, let me know what you guys think about this design. Is it cool or not? Because you don't want to come with design, all your friends and family say, no, that looks dope. You print it out, and everyone else says, no, man, that's a horrible design. As well, take your time. Do not rush into it, because rushing into it, you're going to want to come with design. You're going to try to design real quick, but later on, you're going to look back, and you're going to regret it. I had 3 designs. One was just a logo like this, but they were on black shirts. These were the ones that sold the most. This was my other design. Now that I look at it, I can see why they didn't sell. This mostly looks like a shirt that a kid will buy, not for an actual, tiger out there in the street. I don't see a tiger wearing this. So that was my failure in rushing it with the design. This one, not that bad. Actually I like this one. I think I might print this again for myself. Okay, so now it's time for step 5. This is when you actually start printing your shirts. But before that, if you're really serious about this brand, is once you come up with your name and brand, the minimum you have to do is at least buy the domain. Look for your domain, buy it. Create some accounts on Instagram, Facebook, even a YouTube channel, just in case, with that name. This is just a way to be safe, because the last thing you want to do is print your shirt, start selling them, and people will see your name and they like it, and you don't want them to search online, see that the domain's available, and take it from you. Because if you haven't heard, there's people who buy domains that way you can sell it later on for a profit. You don't have to create a website, just buy it at least, just to be safe. So now, when it comes to printing your shirts, there's basically two ways. There's DTG, which is basically direct to garment, and there's screen printing. Now I'm going to tell you guys the pros and cons of both of them. For DTG, the pros are that there's no minimum. You could just buy one shirt, because basically it's just a printer where they just load the shirt and it prints like a regular inkjet printer like that. That's why there's no minimum. You can buy one. It doesn't matter the amount of colors that the design has. But the cons with DTG is that the margins are a lot less, because you could order 50 shirts, but the discount they're going to give you is like ain't going to be really that big a difference. On top of that, it takes a little bit longer because it is like a printer. Imagine trying to print 50 shirts. It takes a while. Screen printing. It's basically, you know what screen printing is, just basically for each color, you need a screen with the design and you print it. Now the pros on that is that the margins are a lot better, especially when you start buying bulk. Because the more you buy, the print shops, they give you a better discount. They give you a better price. As well, the production is faster. Now the cons to screen printing is that there is a minimum quantity. Some might do with just 12 shirts, because it is a lot of work to set up a screen, especially for each color. And another con is that a lot of print shops that do have those setup fees, art fees to separate the colors. Each color that you put on, they might charge you that for each screen. But even though with all those setups, all those setup prices, if you're buying a lot of shirts, the price they're gonna give you is gonna be a big difference, because once you sell them, you can make a large profit on it. Now, my advice to you is, since you're just starting a clothing brand, the last thing you want to do is go to a screen print shop, order 20 shirts for one design, and for you not to sell anything, because you're just going to have inventory there. That's one thing about DTG that comes in handy mostly for people who are just starting out, because you could print on demand. If someone orders your shirt, you order the shirt on, for example, there's Teespring, I think, Teespring or Shopify. There's Sasso, Cafe Press. So every time someone orders your shirt, you buy it and you have it mailed to, you have them ship it to that person. And for screen printing, you buy 20 shirts, you're basically stuck with those 20 shirts until you sell them. If you don't sell them, they're just going to be laying in the back of your closet, collecting dust. I recommend, you're starting out, do DTG. One, so you could take pictures of your shirt, especially with models. Now, it could be just you wearing them, because people are more willing to buy a shirt if they see the actual product. Because even though mock-ups are a lot easier to to set up on your website or Instagram, people prefer seeing the real thing on the picture, someone actually wearing it. And that's what mistake I learned. So once you have your shirts printed, especially on screen printing, there's step 6, which is actually selling your shirts to people. Now, this is going to be the hardest part when starting your brand. But here's the tip before you start selling your shirts. One thing you can do to put on your shirts to make it look more legit and more to be like a top brand is adding simple hanging tags, which are basically these right here. Now, these hang tags are just basically business cards. So picture this shirt on the store. Just this little simple thing will make it more appealing to the customer, because they will take this brand a lot more serious. They won't think that it's a clothing brand coming from a garage or something. So when adding your handy tags, the things you're going to need is a tagging gun, a hole puncher, your business cards, these things, plastic, I don't know what they're really called, but I call them tags. Now these tagging guns, the first time I heard about adding hang tags to your shirts was from t-shirthelpdesk.com, and they sell these. But when I saw the price, they were like, what, like back then, it was a few years ago, it was like $24, $29, something like that. And that seemed like expensive. There's some that cost like $50, $60, but those are mostly for like, they're industrial guns. But this one, where I bought this, I went to the Mercado here in Mexico, where I live. This little thing cost me 60 pesos, which is about around $2.50, $3. It is cheap. I'll admit it's pretty cheap. But since I'm just starting now, I ain't gonna be tagging 1,000 shirts. So it works. And the same thing with these. I bought these. They're like 40 pesos. They were 40 pesos for a box. I think they had like 1,000. But unfortunately, they don't have the long ones. They only have these short ones. But it's the same thing. And this hole puncher, I actually bought this on Amazon. I bought all the way from the US. It cost me like around $10, $12 with the shipping, which is pretty impressive because it's international shipping for $12. Everything, good price. I'm gonna use those little a test print shirt. Now lots of things. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to show you guys how to do this. The first thing you do is you grab your tags, place them to your gun. You grab your shirt. Now you can place them on the sleeve, or some people even put it on the collar. But I like doing the sleeve. So all you do is grab your gun, grab your shirt, slide the needle through the shirt, grab your business card. After you already did the hole with the hole puncher, you put on the needle and you just pull the trigger. Let's see, get a better look like this. See that? And that's it. Simple as that. Now another one you could do also is you could buy some flyers, fold them up, and place down here with your hang tag as well. These are some flyers that I made for my brand. This just shows the shirts I have. And all you're gonna do is just fold them up like this. Fold them like this. Grab your flyer, your hang tag, and there. Now with this flyer thing, it makes it look a lot better. Now you could showcase more of your shirts of your brand. So let's go back to step 6 on actually selling your shirts. Now this is going to be the most hardest part for your brand. There are 3 ways to sell your shirts. One is through family and friends. There's social media, and there's your online store on your actual website. Now, the easiest part for most of you guys will be your family and friends, because since they are your friends and family, they're more willing to support you. But in my case, it wasn't as easy as I thought. When I sell my shirts, I literally messaged all my friends that I knew personally, friends from high school, and I told them about my clothing brand that started. If they're willing to help me out by buying a shirt, and everybody said yes. And I literally got excited. Okay, I have all these shirts sold already. But as time went by, I realized that nothing. I mean, the first person to buy my shirt was my brother. The other one was my friend Julio, which is the same one who's been helping me out with actually doing my print shop. Those basically were the only ones that actually bought from me. The rest of the people didn't. And honestly, that kind of got to me because, I knew these people for all these years. And, it kind of sucks knowing that all your friends didn't even bother helping you out. But that's in the past. I'm not even too worried about it because in reality, my brand was not just to sell to my friends. It was to sell to other people. And I don't blame my friends because since I have been living here in Mexico for like so many years, I wasn't really able to keep in touch with all of them. So I could understand them. Here's this dude. We're friends. After so many years, all of a sudden he start, messaging me. And what is it for? So I could buy him a shirt. So I don't blame them for that. But maybe in your case, you may have more luck with your family and friends. That's who you should start out with first. And the other one is through social media. There's Instagram and there's Facebook. Now Facebook is a good opportunity to sell because there's ads you can buy. And Instagram, you just post a photo of your design and you just add the hashtags. But don't rely too much on that because the one mistake that I realized is that there's a lot of competition out there. Once I start posting pictures, I actually start following the hashtags and I realized that there's a lot of brands out there. A lot of people starting their own clothing brand. And in my case, for my legal artist brand, my idea was to bring artists who knew how to design, who knew how to draw, have them submit their artwork so I could print them in shirts. But when I started looking for them through Instagram, I realized that a lot of them had their own, you could say like a brand. They were selling their art designs through, I think it was Teespring or Shopify. So I didn't even bother asking them, hey, do you want to send me your own work so I can make it, print it, when they're already doing that themselves. And there's one way you could take advantage of the competition, especially to Instagram, is you gotta start going crazy on liking and commenting on many posts of people that fit with your niche. If you're, go back to the skateboarding. If you're starting a teacher, a clothing brand for skateboarding, start liking people's posts, videos, pictures of them skating, leaving comments on them. That way they could find out, hey, who's this guy messaging me, or who's this guy commenting on my photos. They'll go to your profile and they realize you're a brand. And it's better to have any kind of traffic than no traffic at all. And this also means go with your competition. If you see another clothing brand, comment on their photos. Even if you leave comments like, man, I wish I had designs dope like yours. That way their followers will see your comment and they're most likely to go to your profile and check you out. And now there's the online store and having your website. The website is a little bit more complicated because not only do you have to buy a domain, but there's hosting and there's web design and web management. You may ask yourself, do you really need a website? And really, you kind of do, because it does help a lot. When I started, I used, I think it was called Evolution. I bought that. It was a membership of, it was like around $14, $15 a month. And they gave you the opportunity to have your own online store. And I was using that at first. I put my product, my shirts on their website, my website, using their platform. So it was www.legalartist.com. and they handle all. Kind of like use just a template. But there's other websites such as Wix, where it's a lot easier, where you just drag and drop, and that comes in handy for people who don't know nothing about web design or web development. So that's how I started. But $15 a month was like around like 300 pesos for me at that time. And since I wasn't really getting any sales, I felt like I was throwing away that money each month. And during that time as well, my daughter, she was young, and I was buying, diapers and formula. So I was literally living off every, peso from each check. I basically had to cancel my Evolution account. So my website was off, but I still wanted my own website. I didn't want to use, www.illegalartist.wix.com, or I don't know how Wix works, but I didn't want that. I want my own domain. So what did I do? I basically taught myself web development. I learned how to create my own websites, using HTML, CSS3. And it was a lot of hard work, but I didn't have the money to pay a web designer, a web developer, because websites are really expensive. And even though I did it, after I figured out how to create my own websites, the next problem was hosting. The reason I canceled Evolution was because I didn't have money to actually afford the hosting each month. And I tried to look online for free hosting, and luckily I found one, which is 00. Wait, I forgot. I'll leave the link. I'll look it up later on. But I'll leave the link. And it's basically free hosting. You upload your website, and there's no ads. The only ad that comes up, a little banner, small banner that says, powered by things, web host, something like that. That's the only thing. But other ads out there, they don't put that on your website. And it's free, so you can have www.yourbrand.com without paying a hosting service. And that only comes if you already know how to design a website. But they also have the same thing, drag and drop. So I recommend that if you want to have your own online store. Even though that website is free, they don't handle the e-commerce. What I decided to do was, I made my website, uploaded each shirt, and I added a button that said click now, something like that. And when you click on it, it will take you to my shop that I have with Ecstasy. And Ecstasy, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Right there you can sell your own products. And it's really cheap. I think I only get charged like a few cents a month. And they handle the whole payment process. And that's what I do. I just have my online store. It redirects you to that shop. And that's where people can actually buy the shirts. But I don't use that right now. I kind of got rid of my whole clothing brand. Once you have your way of having your shirts printed, you're doing a little small marketing, you're trying to sell your shirts, you're basically have to be working every day on your brand, because it does take a lot of work. For me, it was pretty hard because the things I try to do to help my brand, I can do from here. My idea was, go out there and have, graphers wearing my t-shirt, do some films, take them pictures, tagging, a way so I could keep posting pictures on Instagram, on Facebook. But since I was all the way down here, couldn't do that. And I couldn't get people to do that for me because obviously I had to give them something, but I didn't have the money to actually, pay for a photographer and all of that. But I recommend you guys take a lot of pictures, especially with people wearing your shirts, because customers, they want to see the actual product on someone. They don't just want to see mock-ups on a computer. They want to see people actually wearing it. They always can feel more confident and trustworthy with your brand, and they're more willing to buy it. And sometimes you might have to do this all by yourself. That kind of happened to me. I had to, like I said, I had to come up with the designs. I had to do all the posts, Facebook, Instagram, how to publish. I had to do the web design myself. I had to take my own pictures, edit my own pictures, try to do my own videos, all that. And that's a lot of work for one person to handle. A group helps a lot. And sometimes, if you don't have money to pay someone to do it, you got to do it yourself. That's what I did. I couldn't afford a web developer. I taught myself web development. I'm not an expert, but I know the basics, the basic website, because I had no choice. Same thing with photography. Now, the only problem for me back then was when I started my clothing brand, I didn't have no good camera. The only thing I had was a cheap cell phone to take my pictures. And the pictures that I used, the pictures that I took were horrible, as you can see. I mean, no high quality, nothing. It was just me posting with my own shirts. So I did a really good job. That's one of my failures to my brand, because as well as you're actually trying to sell your shirts, it's best to just go out and try to sell them face to face with people. You'll have a better chance of selling them. Take an example, in my case, I had my shirts with my brother in Phoenix, and I try to do everything online, just to do Facebook, Instagram, and I didn't have any luck. And that's when my friend Julio, he hit me up again. He asked me, do you still have those shirts? And I told him, yeah, they're just with my brother. And he told me, oh, well, let me go pick them up, I'll try to sell them. And I said, yeah, no problem. He went out there, he got the shirts, and he just started going out to his friends, his co-workers, and he started selling them right away. And that's how he was able to make more shirts, send them again to Phoenix. He sold them again because he was actually out there going and making a sale. Because you just rely sitting down on your computer and trying to make your sales, especially when you're starting out. When you're starting out, it is very important to go out there face to face, trying to get those customers. Go to events, hand out flyers, anything, just to get your brand out there. Once your brand is actually out there making sales, that's when you can kind of more focus on doing most of your sales online. But when you're beginning, face to face, man, that's how it's gonna go. For me, I kind of left my brand. I'm not really focused on it because it is hard to do it from all the way over here. So I think I'm gonna try to focus more on my print shop and on this YouTube channel. Alright, so let's recap my steps to starting a brand. The first one is to come up with a niche. Make sure you belong to it or be at least part of it. The second is coming up with a name that fits your niche. The third is coming with a logo. The fourth is come with a few designs, minimum 2 designs for your shirts. Make sure to get good feedback on your designs before you go to actual production. The fifth is actually printing shirts. Now remember, there's DTG and there's screen printing. The sixth is actually selling shirts. This will be the most hardest part. Remember, there's your family and friends first, there's social media, and there's your online store on your website. And all those three don't mean nothing if you don't keep working on it. You gotta put all your focus on this. Don't bother with anything else. Don't worry if you're not making any sales at the beginning. Just keep working on it. Things are not easy at first. The only people that who are successful are the ones who don't quit. Because if you try to sell and you didn't make no sales, a lot of people will give up. They say, no, we're not selling anything. Forget about it. But there's other people who are more dedicated. They're struggling, but they keep fighting. They keep working hard. They're trying to do anything to expose their brand, to get their brand out there, knocking on people's doors, going to business, trying to sell their brand. asking, going to events. You're doing everything. And that will eventually make you successful. So I'm going to refresh my mistakes that I made. One of my first mistakes was my designs. Because, like I said, I kind of rushed into my designs. I didn't show my design. I didn't show my designs to anybody. I didn't get any feedback. In my head, I thought everything looked cool, dope. But later on, I realized that my designs were not that good. My designs were not that good. My other mistake was I assumed that selling would be really easy. I realized that the hard way. You know, I said on my shirts, years went by, nothing. And you know, it sucks when you fail your brand, but you learn from your mistakes. And here are two things I learned. And I went to take advantage of the mistakes. One was, there's a lot of competition, right? There's a lot of competition. And there's really no place to sell your shirts. Because, for example, if I was selling like on eBay or Amazon, if I had my product on the homepage, everyone knows that will mean sales, but that's not going to happen. So, that first mistake that I learned when there's a lot of competition, I thought to myself, how can I take advantage of that? And that's when screen printing came to my head. You know, I have all these competitors. Wouldn't it be amazing if I was the one printing the shirts? So that's when I started. That's when I got the idea to focus more on screen printing than an actual t-shirt brand. And the other thing was there's no place to sell. I have an idea for that, but I'll save that for later. Alright, amigos, that's all for today's video. I hope that this did help you for people who are thinking of starting your own clothing brand. Now, if you still have questions for me, just leave them in the comments below. Or you could message me through Instagram or Facebook. So make sure to follow me on those platforms. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell to be notified when I make more videos. Because I still have a lot more to do. I'm still waiting for that UV LED light to arrive. So I could finally start working on my exposure unit. So stay posted. But in the meantime, I'm out.